technology that is built for your every sense. Acer Pure from Acer.
Well, it's an early Diwali bonanza for India as the Modi government announced the new GST structure that will have a big impact on your wallets. Well, as announced by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi from the ramparts of Red Fort on 15th of August, the next generation GST reforms are here. One that they say will improve the ease of living in India. In fact, the Goods and Services Tax Council during its 56th meeting decided to revamp the tax structure into a primarily two-rate system as opposed to the four-rate slabs that they had earlier. Now, the decisions have come into effect and will be coming into effect from the 22nd of September for most of these items. Apart from the two rates of 5 and 18%, the new GST system is also going to include a 40% special rate on sin tax goods such as tobacco and luxury items such as cars, which is high-end cars, not small cars, high-end cars, yachts, helicopters, so on and so forth. Now, the government also retains 5% and 18% slabs. Reforms have been carried out with focus on common man. Almost all the personal use items will be seeing a rate cut, and the government looks to boost the domestic spending as well as cushion the economic blow of the US tariffs as well to try and negate that.
Reduction of GST from 5% to nil. 5 से 0 में जाने वाले आइटम्स इंडिकेट कर रहा हूं. अल्ट्रा हाई टेम्परेचर मिल्क, द UHT मिल्क, छेना और पनीर, all the Indian breads will see nil rate. So रोटी किसी के ऊपर भी, चपाती और रोटी और पराठा और whatever it is, they all come to nil. Reduction from 18 or from 12 to 5%. I list out those items, all of whom have come to 5% from either 18 or from 12. Common man items such as hair oil, toilet soap, bars, soap bars, shampoos, toothbrushes, toothpaste, bicycles, tableware, kitchenware and other household articles have all come to 5. Whether they were in 18 or whether they were in 12. इसमें food items बहुत सारे हैं. नमकीन से भुजिया है, sauces है, pasta है, instant noodles है, chocolates, coffee, preserved meat, cornflakes, butter, ghee, ये सब 5% में आ रहे हैं.
But let's break it down to you and tell you what really does get cheaper, what gets more expensive. What's cheaper? Well, all the daily essentials such as hair oil, soap, shampoo, toothbrush, shaving cream, bicycles, these are things of daily essentials. Earlier, they were being taxed with a GST of 18%. Now it's going to come down to 5%. So this is where your savings will be coming in from. And not just that, you also have other daily essentials. For example, you have utensils, sewing machines, clinical diapers, as well as feeding bottles, napkins. All of this gets reduced from an earlier 12% GST, now comes down to a 5% GST as well. So there you have it. Food products as well. And as you just heard the Finance Minister, food products, for example, butter, ghee, cheese, dairy, spreads, namkeens, pasta, cornflakes, sauces, all of this gets reduced significantly as well. It goes from a 12% bracket to the 5% bracket now. But ultra high temperature milk, chena, paneer, all of this now gets cheaper as well, as earlier it goes from 5% to nil, as the Finance Minister has said, especially the Indian products such as chena, such as paneer, pizza bread, khakras, all of this now get reduced to nil. So there's going to be no GST on some of these products. You also have healthcare, and this is one of the biggest takeaways of the GST reforms, that when it comes to healthcare, 33 life-saving drugs and medicines are now going to have zero GST. That's right. From an earlier 12%, one of the most criticized GST aspects had been that of the high GST, which was on healthcare. In this case now, in this reform, 33 of these life-saving drugs have slashed GST all the way to nil. So there's going to be no GST on any of this. This is one of the biggest takeaways of this reform. But also the fact that when it comes to health and life insurance, there is going to be no GST on that as well. So that's the good news coming in for those who have to pay premiums as well. Also, when it comes to electronic goods, let's tell you how they are likely to get cheaper as well. Air conditioners, dishwashers, TVs, and anything which is above 32 inches. These are the electronic goods which are now going to get cheaper from a steep 28%. It actually comes down to 18%. So 10% slash in the GST, which is going to be that's something that you're going to be paying. But also the good news which is coming in is educational items. For example, maps, wall maps, sharpeners, erasers, notebooks, pencils, pastels, all of these things for children and for education sector. From an earlier 12% GST, now there's going to be absolutely no GST on any of these things which are coming in. Also, let's tell you about another steep cut which is coming in the sector of automobiles. For example, small cars. It's important for us to point out that this is small cars and not the luxury cars. So when it comes to small cars, buses, motorcycles below 3,500 cc, three-wheelers, trucks, diesel cars, diesel cars as well as ambulances, all of them get much cheaper by about 10% in the GST is what you are going to save. But this is why they are saying that up ki baad it's going to be the middle class. Remember, these are not for luxury cars. This is all going to be for middle class that you see a massive cut on. But there are also things which are happening as to which are going to get costlier. So what really is getting costlier? Let's get you that as well. But before that, let me tell you about what are the reactions which are coming in, and there you have it. What is costlier? Let me go back to that. So this is what's going to be costlier now. We are going to tell you about the A-rated drinks as well as others. There you have it on your screens. You have A-rated drinks containing added sugar. You have caffeinated. For example, you have the caffeinated drinks as well, non-alcoholic beverages. All of them get much more expensive now. Earlier, it used to have a 28%. Now it goes up to a 40%. When it comes to automobiles, let's tell you which are more expensive. For example, when it comes to motorcycles, which are above 350cc, they get more expensive. Private yachts get more expensive. Aircrafts, racing cars, these are the things which are not seen as essential items, not items for the middle class. These are the ones which are going to face a 40% sin tax. Also, 40% sin tax is going to be there on casinos, race clubs, lotteries, betting, online gaming as well. From 28%, now that shoots up to a 40% as well. Of course, there is going to be others such as tobacco products, such as pan masala, gutka, cigarettes, all of this going to get more expensive with a 40% GST on that as well. But let's also tell you how the revised GST regime has been hailed by Nirmala Sitharaman, and of course her peers in the cabinet as well have said that this is a very bold move that shows that Prime Minister's commitment to the ease of living and the ease of doing business. You have, in fact, our Union Home Minister Amit Shah, as well as the Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. They've all called it a historic step that is going to ensure that there is relief coming in to the poor and the middle class. This is what we are going to start right from the beginning and tell you what exactly it is that Amit Shah has said. Amit Shah has said this is truly transformative move. Then goes on to say Prime Minister fulfills his commitment. Remember, from the Red Fort, you had the Prime Minister coming out and saying there's going to be a Diwali gift which is in the offing. Amit Shah has also said we will ensure the ease of living as well. And then there are others like Rajnath Singh, who has also congratulated Nirmala Sitharaman, saying that it empowers small businesses is going to go a long way in helping the MSME sector. Also that it's going to boost India's self-reliance, Atmanirbharta as well. Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, has said it is going to foster growth in some of the key sectors which is going to be critical, at least in the onslaught of the US tariff that we've seen going up to 50%. Piyush Goyal also says that it reinforces Viksit Bharat vision of the Modi Sarkar as well. Then you have Chandrababu Naidu, the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister. He said that this is a pro-poor and growth-oriented reform which has been brought in. In fact, let's get you some of the reactions which have been coming in across the political spectrum as well after the reform was announced last night.
Businesses prosper through greater market demand, consumer demand, and all of this is possible when we collectively as a nation commit ourselves to support each other, to buy goods, take services made in India, go for Swadeshi, be vocal for local, promote goods made in India, encourage the persons who are contributing to the India growth story across the length and breadth of the country through our own little effort. And I think yesterday's GST reforms are a step in the direction of ensuring an Atmanirbhar Bharat, an India which is self-sufficient, self-reliant, an India whose supply chains are self-reliant, an India that cares for every Indian.
निश्चित तौर से प्रधानमंत्री जी ने लाल किले से जो घोषणा किया था उसको पूरा करने का काम हम लोगों ने किया है और ये पहले से भी रहा है कि प्रधानमंत्री जो कहते हैं वो निश्चित तौर से पूरा होता है। और पिछले बजट में भी अगर आप देखें तो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक आम जन को, मध्यम वर्ग को खास तौर से जो इनकम टैक्स के स्लैब में एक बड़ा छूट 12 लाख तक जो कल्पना किसी ने नहीं किया था उसको भी करने का काम किया था। और इस जीएसटी के जो न्यू जनरेशन रिफॉर्म है जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने मंच से कहा था, ये वाकई एक बहुत बड़ा रिफॉर्म है और आम गरीब जनता को, मध्यम वर्ग को, छोटे मझोले बिजनेसमैन को, सबको इसका लाभ होने वाला है। प्रधानमंत्री जी का पहले से ही रहा कि किसानों की आय को हमें दुगना करना है, उसके लिए भी एक बड़ा पहल है जो किसानों के सभी इस्तेमाल करने वाले चीजों पे भी जीएसटी कम किया गया है, उससे कहीं ना कहीं उनको भी राहत मिलने वाला है।
48,000 करोड़ ये ममता बनर्जी, ये राहुल गांधी के फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने विरोध किया कि जीएसटी नहीं करना चाहिए, लेकिन नरेंद्र मोदी जी का फर्म डिटर्मिनेशन था कि मिडिल क्लास के लोगों के लिए, और उन्होंने हर सेक्टर में रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान, सारे सेक्टर में, हेल्थ में, सारे सेक्टर में उन्होंने रिलीफ किया है देश के आम लोगों के लिए।
मेरे रिकमेंडेशन पर आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, आदरणीय वित्त मंत्री जी को धन्यवाद देता हूं। उनके मार्गदर्शन में पूरे जीएसटी काउंसिल ने इसको पास किया। किसानों की चिंता की गई, किसान के साथ साथ आम व्यक्ति की चिंता की गई, पूरे भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था की चिंता की गई, मेडिकल सेक्टर को पूरी तरह इससे एग्जम्प्ट किया गया, चाहे वो इंश्योरेंस हो या जो क्रिटिकल बीमारियों के दवा हैं उनको पूरी तरह एग्जम्प्ट किया गया। भारत में स्वदेशी अभियान को ये बूस्टर डोज है जो मोदी जी और निर्मला जी ने इस देश को देने का काम किया।
Well, let me go across to Pragya, who is joining us. Pragya, there is renewed hope now in the air. The markets have reflected that as well, and I believe you are joined by BJP's Gopal Krishna Agarwal. But do ask him about how the opposition now says that it is what Rahul Gandhi, the next Prime Minister, as they have projected him, has been asking for so long, so his voice has been heard today.
Sir, you have heard the question.
Yes.
So, can you just reply to that? Because all the opposition parties are saying that Rahul Gandhi has already, been saying that UPA is the government that had, in fact, proposed this GST law.
No, yesterday Finance Minister had clarified that it is the UPA which also wanted to do this reform. But neither the states came on board because it's a federal structure and indirect tax is in the domain of the state also. So they have to come on board to implement anything. Opposition, which was in the government earlier under the UPA, they tried, but the opposition states or the different states were not in line because they did not have the confidence on that time UPA government that they will fulfill their promise of compensation and even their capacity to implement such a big ticket reform. It is Prime Minister Modi ji's vision which has brought this important big ticket reform, and it is not just only rate reduction, but it's structural reforms, correction of inverted duty structures, streamlining the processes, etc., and for the benefit of the poor segments of the the population, welfare of those people, reducing costs, creating demand, helping MSME, and it's a big ticket. And they should remember, under their regime, it was... Yes, so the issue is that earlier the Congress regime,
Well, Pragya, we'll just come back to you. Meanwhile, let's also tell our viewers one of the most sought-after changes to the regime has been the GST exemptions on life insurance and health insurance, which means that the premiums would be coming down. Now, this also becomes the decision that the opposition is rushing to take the credit for. From Congress to the TMC, party men have rushed to dig out old tweets of their bosses only to say that the rollback was forced by Rahul Gandhi and Mamta Banerjee. While others have revived the Gabbar Singh tax analogy coined that first time GST came into being. Watch this.
In all my speeches on budgets, whenever I spoke after GST, this is what I had been telling the government. One, where is your one nation, one tax? It was one nation and 4 taxes or 3 taxes. Number two, I said, your rates are abnormally high. I mean, frighteningly high. You have to bring it down. So it's a welcome step. This should have happened 8 years back. In fact, GST was again like a planned event when you decorated the parliament, but brought a most ill-conceived law in the most unplanned way. Now, today there seems to be an element of planning, but it is 8 years late. And I'm sure it must have happened because of so many national and international factors which have now started troubling the BJP government and the Prime Minister.
आज भी जो सरकारी हॉस्पिटल हैं वहां पे जांच फ्री नहीं है। जो समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार में 1 रुपए के पर्चे पे आपकी सारी जांच फ्री थी, दवाएं मुफ्त मिलती थी, क्या मिल रही हैं? तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी केवल जनता का ध्यान मुख्य मुद्दों से बांटना चाहती, गुमराह करना चाहती है। ये वही भारतीय जनता पार्टी है जो कभी जीएसटी का विरोध करती थी, लेकिन जब जीएसटी लागू किया तो पेट्रोल और डीजल को उससे बाहर रखा। आज जीएसटी के नाम पे जनता से केवल वसूली हो रही है, उगाही हो रही है। आम नागरिक, चाहे वो रिक्शे वाला हो, चाहे अमीर हो, चाहे गरीब, वो जीएसटी दे रहा है। व्यापारी तो केवल जीएसटी को सरकार को लौटाने का काम करता है।
Well, with that, more breaking news which is coming in. No end to politics over GST. First, Congress gave Rahul Gandhi credit for the GST reforms, and now Mallikarjun Kharge attacks the Modi Sarkar. In fact, the Congress president has raised the one nation, 9 taxes jibe. He has in fact questioned the delay in the GST reforms as well. Well, there you have it. The post which has been put out by Mallikarjun Kharge, where he has talked about what he says that for nearly a decade, the Indian national government has demanded the simplification of the GST. The Modi government has turned one nation, one tax into one nation, 9 taxes. And this, he lists the tax slabs of 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, and the special rates of 0.25%, 1.5%, 3%, and 6%. In fact, the Congress president has recalled that the party had demanded GST reforms in 2019 itself, as well as the 2024 Lok Sabha election manifestos. Taking the credit for it, he has further alleged that the BJP has opposed the GST bill, which was brought by the UPA 2 government's finance minister Pranab Mukherjee way back in 2011. In fact, Mallikarjun Kharge in that post that you can see on your screen has also said several other things, like the Congress party had demanded GST 2.0 with simple and rational tax systems in 2019-2024 manifestos. In fact, Congress-led UPA on 28th of February 2005 had formally announced GST in the Lok Sabha. In 2011, when the then finance minister Pranab Mukherjee had brought the GST bill, the BJP opposed it. Well, there you have it. Several back and forth. You have attacks which are coming in despite the reactions which are coming in with positivity which have been coming in due to the GST reforms. In fact, there's more breaking news that we are shifting focus across to. You have a reaction coming in from one of the biggest giants in the real estate sector, Niranjan Hiranandani. Well, what does he say? He has said that the GST rationalization is a festive bonanza for Indian consumers and a strategic boost for the economy by enhancing purchasing power, stimulating consumption and helping contain inflation. This reform creates a multiplier effect that would propel India's GDP growth beyond 8%. Let me go across to Hina Gambhir, who's joining us with more details on this. Hina, good to see that there is cheer coming in from India Inc. and you have Niranjan Hiranandani himself. What is it that he has said? Why is he so very optimistic that this is going to bring about real change on the ground?
Well, Meghna, there is cheer, that's coming in from industry, but from the opposition as well. If you see, even though there is a credit war that has now started, if you look at posts that have come from people like Jairam Ramesh, instead of calling it GST 2.0, at least they are calling it GST 1.5, which means that even they feel that these measures are going to propel growth in our country. Let's talk about Niranjan Hiranandani now, a big face in the India's real estate sector. Now he thinks that this move, the measures that have been announced, this is going to positively impact our vision for housing for all. Apart from roti and kapda, even the makan is going to get affordable. Now how will that happen? The cement and the steel GST rate, Meghna, has been slashed from 28% to 18%. Now that is going to, give a big push to the sector, which is likely to lead to, lower costs, lower input costs, and eventually making housing affordable for everyone. According to Mr. Hiranandani, this move, the decisions that have been taken, the cuts that have come in, the GST rate specifically, they have the potential to in fact take our GDP growth beyond 8%. Remember when the first quarter GDP number came out at 7.8%, the worry was, okay, fine, we've got this, but now we've got the Trump tariff sword hanging around our head. So how do we deal with that pressure? Even though government says it's got nothing to do with tariff or heat, but these measures are going to ensure that we remain on the higher growth trajectory, and this is something that industry also feels is going to happen.
You're absolutely right about that. It is going to negate some of the impact that we may have with the 50% Trump tariff. But as we can see after the markets open today, there has been a cheer, this moment of hope which has now been infused in the hearts as well as the economy. Thank you so much, Hina, for getting us all those